analytics in basketball, really.
Now that's how you watch basketball, right? That's how you watch basketball. So now, being able to benchmark data, traditionally video is about 30 to 60 frames per second. But the real-time nature of this data allows us to work with Fox and ESPN and the other broadcasters and provide the data to really enhance the experience. Looks like a video game, right? Makes it fun and really enhances the experience. At Shot Tracker, we have a saying. We believe that Shot Tracker is to gyms as Wi-Fi is to coffee shops. Anybody here can go to a coffee shop without Wi-Fi? You guys probably won't go back. Right? So that's our vision. We believe that every single gym should have Shot Tracker so that when any player walks in, they have the ability to put on their sensor, dribble their ball 3 or 4 times, and be able to get how they perform in real time. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. We believe that Shot Tracker is going to change the game, and I think we're going to have a good conversation here.
Welcome back, Jay Tucker, for a sit-down chat with Daveyon, followed by audience questions.
Daveyon, that was great. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having tall chairs. Well, I appreciate that.
We accommodate all styles. So, at the end, I heard you talking a little bit about, what's in it for fans, what's in it for the broadcasters, what's in it for the players. All that stuff is crystal clear. In my experience, though, when we talk about technology innovation, it's not the case. There's the old adage, build a better mousetrap, and the market will beat a path to your door, right? And we know that nowadays, when it comes to technology, it's not that simple. Just because you have something that's better, something that people haven't seen before, doesn't necessarily mean you can build a business on it. And part of that is actually getting people to adoption. Can you talk a little bit just about the process of getting these teams, leagues, broadcasters, stakeholders to actually adopt? What is their motivation? How are you closing the circuit so that they see the value? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so that's a deep question because it's been an experience for us. When we started off, just like most startups, you go into the market thinking one thing, right? So we go into the market thinking, wow, teams are going to use this, using it for practice. But what happens is that people start knocking on your door when they see what you can deliver. So I think one of the really important things about being a startup is being nimble, being flexible. So, as you look to the market and you talk to the market, you get feedback on what's important and who's willing to pay, right? So for us, we would definitely sign up a ton of schools, and that's very exciting, but we saw a bigger opportunity when broadcasters started knocking on our doors. Now, when broadcasters start knocking on your door, you have to figure out, okay, what exactly does that mean, right? What would they pay for it? And how do they want it delivered? Because one of the things in the broadcasting world, so for instance, they use graphics engines, right? And some of these graphics engines are fairly archaic, and right, like these aren't like web clients. They're, hey, I put a machine in the truck. And so it's one of those things where we have to figure out how do we deliver the technology to them in a manner that they're actually consuming technology today. So that was a big challenge for us because, again, it's not just one system, right? So we have to figure out, okay, how do we integrate with all these systems? Now, we're a bunch of software developers, we have technical backgrounds. So the fortunate thing is that we built the technology in a way that it can be, it's just API based. So it makes it much easier to integrate, which also gave us a ton of flexibility as it relates to as these opportunities come up. Now, the biggest thing that we're working on right now is really figuring out like what to charge these people. And that's we know that they're willing to pay, right? But we also don't want to be like, hey, give me $10, and they're like, wow, we got a steal here. Like, we want to maximize what we can get for them because the value that they get is so substantial as it relates to what they can actually charge their advertisers, what they can do. So that's an ongoing thing for us as a startup, right? Really trying to get through the process, make sure we deliver it in a way that's not disruptive. Because you're talking about like older companies here, companies that have like thousands of employees. They've been here for a long time. So, and you're somewhat changing the mindset. I mean, if you look at what's going on with, ESPN, they had to bring out ESPN Plus because, younger folks aren't necessarily consuming it via linear broadcast. So those are all things that we're dealing with on a daily basis, and we don't have it all figured out, but by God's grace, we're going to continue to keep figuring it out and work with them to really, make that process what successful for us as a company.
I love that. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have ever rolled out a new technology initiative in your workplace? A few. So here's one theory of the case. You've got a great idea, you've got great tech, but it's going to change Billy's job, right?
Billy don't like that.
Billy doesn't like that.
I've been doing this for 87 years.
Right.
Why you messing it up?
Right. So how do we get past that?
Well, part of it is, there's like a new folk of people. Like, you gotta find one innovative dude that's like, hey, I'm trying to push the envelope. And if you could find that guy who's willing to take a little bit of risk, because most of those people are very conservative, right? Again, it's like, I've been doing this the same way for 87 years, and it's not broke. Well, you think it's not broke, right? But you're just setting yourself up to fail in the future. So, you got to find that one innovative person. And then, nobody wants to be Blockbuster. That's what it comes down to. Anybody want to be Blockbuster here? No, we don't want to be Blockbuster. And I think that you have to find the leaders in the company, the innovators that are forward-thinking and understanding that if we keep that Blockbuster mentality, Netflix is going to come in here and, you're going to be doing something else.
So, one of the things that struck me, you mentioned the video game element. We can come back and talk about that for the fans. But the three-dimensional nature of the data, the timeliness of it, the detail that's in there, these giant data sets, right? So you can actually review microseconds of what's happened on the court, right? In practice, in games, and so on. And it strikes me that organizationally, if I'm thinking about not so much the integration from the perspective of a broadcaster, but I'm thinking about how it changes coaching and players' preparation and game planning and adjustments and all this other stuff. You're talking about a technology innovation that is now changing what people can measure and what insights they can actually act on.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that specifically in the context of basketball? How, Shot Tracker in this way changes the way people actually think about managing and performing in the sport?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give a couple examples. So I'm sitting at a KU practice, right? And I have a great relationship with Bill and a lot of these coaches. And at the end of practice, Bill shouts out to me. He said, "Hey D, how many shots did my three guards take?" So pretty easy to look at system, man. 360. All right, how many twos? 16. So he automatically used that as an opportunity to teach. And we're complaining that we don't get to the free throw line. Well, it's really hard to get to the free throw line if you're launching three bombs from 20, 25 feet, right? But in a full practice, you had 16 out of 360 shots, right? So what we're seeing is that, a lot of times coaches are saying, you just can't tell those kids. You have to show them. I mean, this is kind of the show me, audience here. You have to show them, and the ability to really have like substantial data to be able to point to and show them. I mean, we saw this again in the game. There was an NAIA tournament championship game where this one team had a point guard that was left-handed, right? So what he would do is he would come to the right side, come back left, shoot the J. Killing the team on the right side. At the half, the coach goes in and he pulls up our shot chart and he's like, "What do you see here?" On the left side, this dude was 1 for 3. On the right side, I think it was like 6 for 8. And of course, at that point in time, we didn't have video for him to pull up because that's something that we're working on. But he was, able to use that and use it as an opportunity to teach and show people and help them make decisions. So I think that, you know, we have a t-shirt that says stats don't lie, right? And I think it's true, you know, anytime you can get the data and to be able to use it to have conversations and to be able to show people, hey, this is what the data says. This is not the eye test. This is not what I think. You know, this is factual. I think it helps to revolutionize the way you can approach and communicate with people, and we're seeing it on a day-to-day basis.
So I want to come back, because you mentioned now the visual aspect of it a couple of times. We don't talk about it enough in this context, but information doesn't change behavior, right? You got to create an emotional connection.
Absolutely.
That gets people to get up off the couch. Whatever is going to do that, you know, fear, anger, envy, greed, shame, whatever it is, right? And so there's always a storytelling component, even with data.
Absolutely.
And I found it interesting when you were going through the video, you were showing different kinds of visualizations. Some of them look like NBA Jam, he's on fire.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff in terms of showing player positioning, spacing, and all sort of stuff, you're instantly getting sucked in where the data is then self-explanatory.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about what your goals are for the platform and how much visualization you expect to do, and you know whether or not you expect other people to plug in using APIs or whatever to do their own, or you know where do you